On Daf Samach Beis at Halacha Gimel. Yeah, I believe. Yeah. Hamotzi. Somebody takes out anything on Shabbos, ben b'yamino, ben b'smol, whether it's right hand, whether it's left hand, b'sol cheko, inside his pocket, or ksefo, or on his shoulder, chayev. All these things are liable. Shekain, masa b'nei kos. That's how the people in the midbar would carry the people from the shevet of kos. Lachar yodo, if however he carried with the back of his hand, or baraglo on his foot, bepiv in his mouth, and marpeko on his elbow, bazno in his ear, uvesaro in his hair, uvavundaso in his belt, upilamato, but the belt, it's a money belt, but it's upside down. Ben avodas chaluka, between his belt and his shirt, bechefes chaluko, in the hem of his shirt, beminolo in his shoe, besandolo in his sandal, potter on all these, he's exempt shlohotik der chamutzin. That's not the normal way of taking stuff out. It's all called subsumed under kilachariyat. Yes. Rabbi Yossi asks, me'ata hoti kilgreza kseifa chayiv. It says you're chayiv for taking on your shoulder. So if you took out a grogeres, the size of a grogeres on your shoulder, you're chayiv for that. Says man, nah. Fein masa b'nei kahos. You think the people of kahos took out a size of a grogeres on their shoulder? A chip on their shoulder, literally, right? No, they wouldn't take out something that small. On their shoulders, therefore, you're not chayiv on that much. That's on that little. Has to be more. It has to be a significant amount. Okay, let's ask another question. Uksiv, it says, that which Elazar, the son of Aaron HaKohen, was in charge of, included Shevan Hamor, the oil for illumination, Uktaris Hasamim, the spices for the incense, uminchas hatamid, the mincha of the tamid, v'shemen hamishcha, and the oil of anointment. Echon ayanasu. Where were what? Oh, move back.
I was just putting it on my lap anyway.
Okay. Echon ayanasu. Where was this oil kept? Where was all stuff kept? Rabbi Yom was a kamin slochis ktano. Oh, I skipped. Sorry. Uktaris minchas hatamid, the mincha of tamid, and shemen hamishcha. Now, the way he used to carry all this stuff, shemen hamor b'yamino. The oil for the lamp was on his right. Uktaris hasamim, the incense b'smol, his left. Minchas hatamid shel yoim. The minchas hatamid, the day tluya b'zro, would hang on his arm. Now, the Mashbiach points out that this is the beginning of a question, meaning that you see your chayiv on your elbow because you hang. Lazar hung something from his elbow. The flour for that mincha of that tamid of that day hung from his elbow. So you see your chayiv on elbow. Our Mishnah said a marpeko on your elbow, your potri, and here we see your chayiv, right? So shemen hamishcha. Furthermore, shemen hamishcha. Where do they put the oil for anointing? Rabbi Yom Rabbi Lezek means slochis katana. A type of small vessel, he had in his belt. And we, according to Mashbiach, that's also a kasha, is saying that we see if you take something out in your belt, so you're chayiv. So in our Mishnah, it sounded like normally when you take something out in your belt, you're potter. So it says more, and in Tomer Shirkota, maybe you'll say that that's because Rabbi Elazar ben Aaron was not choshev, and therefore carry things in a way which was not choshev. And that we can't extrapolate from that to our current situation because we're only chayiv if we take out in a normal, distinguished way. So in Talmud Shirkon, we're going to say Elazar ben Aaron was small, not literally, but figuratively speaking. Rabbi Shmuel Levi can't be. Rabbi Shmuel Levi says, when the scene is Levi, the ultimate of the paramount leader of the Levites, Nasi of the Nasiim, right? The leader of the leaders, that was Elazar ben Aaron. Duch nimaya. Duch in Aramaic is like a leader. So Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Amar Markol Hoya. He was a Markol. What's a Markol? Time Rabbi Chia V'lomini Kol Shmo Markol. What's a Markol? Shemar. He was the master al Hakol. So if that's the case, he was a great man, and wherever we carried out should be considered in the normal derech and a distinguished way, should be chayiv on that, even on your elbow. So says the Gemara, I'm a Rebbe Elo she'en gedula bepaltin shemelch. No, in the palace of the king there's no greatness. Meaning that Elazar would carry stuff in a manner which was not normal, which was kind of debasing and laughable, perhaps even, because when we serve before God, we're not concerned with our greatness. In other words, even if we're very great, when we serve God, we have to serve God with humility and be willing to do funky things for the service of God. So that's what Elazar was doing here. Okay, so we can't extrapolate from him to anybody else.
I think the question is not such a good question. The reason is, in our Mishnah, we're talking
It's about it's upside down. The Mishnah say where it's upside down. Yeah, and the Gemara it's not upside down. That's what you meant to ask, right?
No, but not actually similar in a similar vein.
Yes.
Because in our Mishnah, the reason why you're talking is because the normal way is not to carry that.
Right.
In our Gemara, we're talking about there was normal way for the woman to carry that.
And still, the Marpeko is a question. The Zro, I have difficulty with the question from Budaso as well for the reason I mentioned. But the question from Marpeko is a good question because it says you carry al Zro, and Zro is clearly hanging down from his elbow. So why not our Mishnah enumerate such as our Mishnah said Marpek is potter? So that's what Gemara says. Rabbi Levi says Lavasha Kohen Midovad. The Kohen puts on a simple woolen garment, Verimas Hadesh, and he has to shovel out the ashes from the Beis HaMikdash. So how could this be? A Kohen who serves a Kodesh Baruch Hu should shovel the ashes? It's not pop, doesn't pass. In the palace of the king there's no greatness, and therefore we cannot extrapolate precisely from the parameters there because they were somewhat, again, more demeaning than normal, and normally there's a higher mean of behavior necessary in order to consider to be derech chotzah. Okay?
The way they carry things.
I guess there's no choice because they wanted to trust anybody else with this stuff, so therefore he had to do it this way. Ideally,
It's just like a balancing act.
right? In an ideal world where there are more kohanim, they wouldn't do it that way, but there were only 2 kohanim to go around, so that was it. Okay, says the Mishnah further, "Miskami loy telefonam." So you had in mind to do otzah behind himself, in front of himself, and it twisted to the behind him. He's potter. If he had in mind to do otzah behind, and it came in front, he's chayav. Now the Bavli brings down that that hotzah la'achorov is of a lesser quality because it's less safeguarded than hotzah lefanav, right? If something is hanging from your neck in front of you, you can safeguard it better than if it's hanging from your neck and back of you. Remember that, Bavli?
No, that's true.
Okay, but you remember it? Okay, so Yerushalmi doesn't hold that chiluk. That's very critical in understanding the Gemara. Yerushalmi holds the achorov, but lefanav it's all the same thing. It makes no difference. So if that's the case, Yerushalmi is going to have difficulty with our Mishnah. Because the Mishnah says if you intend to carry in your back and carry in front, you're chai. Then to carry in your front, you're carrying your back, you're potter. Why the difference, right? So it says when in truth they said a woman is wearing an apron, so they twist around. So whether it goes in back of her or in front of her, and she has something in the apron, she is chayiv. She came really else closer because they do twist around. That's their normal derech. And we just said.
I don't know if there's a difference between Bemis and Bemis on the side it says Bobby has it.
Mhm.
Here it only says Bemis.
I don't know either.
Because Bemis on is the flag that the Yerushalmi and it says Halach Moshe Sinai.
Yeah, but here the Yerushalmi is going to say it's Halach Moshe Sinai. Yeah. So it should be. Okay. So Rabbi Yehuda Abba Piskin came mailmen. They used to carry their packages all around themselves. They used to twist around, and therefore that makes no difference. Says my Tamatim, we learned over there. Rabbi Shmuel or the other guy says Rabbi Shimon Hashazuri and Rabbi Shimon Omer Lo Nechlu Adavar Shu B'Shem Mechut Shu Chayiv. Okay. This will save us literally 20 minutes. If it makes you understand it, then that's even better.
Miracle.
Yeah.
Call me cynical.
Rabbi Les and Rabbi Shu argue. Rabbi Lezer mandates a chatos, while Rabbi Yoshua exempts, right? Chayav versus Potter. There's a disagreement as to the issue. They disputed. One opinion holds that they disputed Shem Echad, a case where a person knew he did a malacha, such as kotzer, but does not know which object he committed the malacha, meaning from which tree he harvested. Okay, so that's very interesting machlokas if you learn about Shem Echad. It means Rabbi Shua holds in order to be chayav a korban, not only do you have to know you did a malacha, you have to know upon which object you performed the malacha. If you don't know, you're parted from machatos. Okay? It's a strange requirement, it is. So he brings down some gzeres akosuf. I forgot what it is. Pnei Moshe brings down some gzeres akosuf. Or maybe it was what's his name? Korban Eda. Somebody brings down there would be gzeres akosuf. I forgot. Let's just take it on faith. Okay. This opinion holds that both Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yossi agree that by Shnei Shemos, where a person knew he did a malacha but does not recall which malacha, such as either kotzer or tochen, harvesting or grinding, the individual is potter. Okay, so if they argue about Shem Echad, then everybody agrees by Shnei Shemos they're potter. Why? Because the Shnei Shemos is much less severe. I don't know if severe is the right word. Much less significant, I guess would be the right word. So therefore, it's certainly part in that case. That's one opinion to the machlokas. The other opinion holds that they disputed Shnei Shemos. That's the machlokas. But by Shem Echad, everyone agrees the individual is chayiv. As you said, it's very strange that which Rabbi Yeshua said you're potter. Our Mishnah is clearly Shem Echad. Because our Mishnah is talking about the malacha of Otzah. There's no dit, right? Just one malacha. Yet the Reisha concludes potter, while the Seifa concludes chayev. And as I told you before, the Yerushalmi does not hold the Bavli's distinction between Shmir Pchusa and Shmir Me'ula. The Reisha, therefore, must follow the opinion that the Machlokes is in Shem Echad. Whereas the Reisha says you're potter. Right? But it's a Shem Echad. Who says you're potter by Shem Echad? According to the second version, that the machlokas is by Shnei Shemos, ain't nobody who says by Shem Echad you're potter. So the Reisha must be going according to the opinion that it's a machlokas by Shem Echad, and then it's going to Rabbi Yeshua, right? The Reisha must follow the opinion that machlokas in Shem Echad, and the Mishnah is going to Rabbi Yeshua. The Seifa, however, which holds that you're chayav, must either be one of two things. It's either Rabbi Lezer, right? Not Rabbi Yeshua, right? Because there has to be the arguing position. Or I must follow the opinion that there's no machlokas in Shem Echad, and in that case it could still be Rabbi Yoshua, right? Because if you follow the opinion there's no machlokas, it means both polled it's chayiv, and then it can even go in like Rabbi Yoshua. In any event, the Reisha and the Sefer are inconsistent. The Reisha and Sefer are inconsistent in that it's either that the Reisha is Rabbi Yoshua and the Sefer is Rabbi Lezer, or that the Reisha is Rabbi Yeshua, according to the opinion that the Machlokes is by Shem Echad, and the Sefer is Rabbi Yeshua, according to the opinion that by Shem Echad everybody agrees, and that the Machlokes is by Shnei Shemos. Okay, what percentage of understanding do we have?
50%.
Yes.
Yeah, a little.
Still a little short.
The Sefer just said that you're part. The Sefer said you're chayiv. Okay.
But we don't know if you're
in the Shem Echad, right?
If it's Shem Echad.
If it's Shem, it is Shem Echad. For sure it's Shem Echad, because we're only doing one malacha here. Shnei Shemos, where you don't know which malacha you did. Here it's Shem Echad, because you know for sure which malacha you did. They don't saw, right? No question about that.
So if the Reisha says you're potter, that means it's going to the yes.
No. Rabbi Yeshua, right?
Shem Echad.
Right.
And the Sefer says
you're chayiv. That either Rabbi Eliezer, can't be Rabbi Yeshua, right? Or the alternative is say that's going to the opinion that by Shem Echad even Rabbi Yeshua concedes that you're chayiv, and Rabbi Yeshua only exempted you in a case of Shnei Shemos. We're not sure which malacha you did.
Why do you need a Reisha and a Sefer?
No, so Reisha and Sefer argue no matter what. Either Reisha is Rabbi Yeshua and the Sefer is Rabbi Eliezer, and that's why one says part and one says chayiv. Or the Reisha is Rabbi Yeshua and the Sefer is Rabbi Yeshua, but different understands Rabbi Yeshua. Because the Reisha is going according to the opinion of Rabbi Yeshua that he potters even by Shem Echad, and the Sefer is going to the opinion that holds that by Shem Echad even Rabbi Yeshua agrees you're chayiv, and he only argues by Shnei Shemos. So no matter what, the Reish and Seif are inconsistent with each other. What level?
Give me an example.
Of which?
Any of them. What do you mean by shtei shemos?
It says Shem Echad is where per case where a person knew he did a malacha,
Right.
but does not know which object committed the malacha. He forgot which tree he harvested.
Okay.
That's not so difficult. He forgot which tree. Hey, seen one tree, seen them all. They all look the same.
Oh,
Okay? Now, Shnei Shemos means a person knew he did a malacha, but doesn't recall which one.
I don't understand that. Okay.
He had amnesia. He forgot.
Okay, that's confusing. Okay.
You know, we had the klutz factor in Erevin. Throw in the forgetfulness factor here.
Okay.
Okay?
Then how does he know he's made it?
If everybody in the world was an upstanding, bright,
Yeah.
and on the ball individual, half of shots, maybe 3/4 of shots need not have been written. Okay?
Yeah, somebody would invent this thing.
So that's it. So that's the sugya. The bottom line is the sugya is just concluding that there's machlokas. Now I want to mention again, the Bavli reconciled the Reish and Seifa by saying that that depends. If you intend to carry in front, it goes to the back. So that's pater because you got a shmira pechusa. It's less of a category of shmira. And if when you intend to go in the back and it went to the front, so you're chayav because it's shmira me'ula. It's a higher category. But the Yerushalmi doesn't draw a distinction between either of those, and therefore the Yerushalmi says the Reish and Sefer per force argue on each other. Okay? Now we saw that we can see it inside. Keep the paper because I'm going to refer back to it in a minute. Says Rabbi Elah. So that's talking about sorry. Tamatina Rabbi Shimon Shazuri and Shimon Reimer Lo Nechol Davar Shu B'Shem Echad Shu Chayiv. He holds that the machlokas there was no machlokas by Shem Echad. By Shem Echad you for sure Chayiv. Aman Echloku was machlokas Rabbi Shua and Rabbi Lez. So Davar Shu B'Shem Shnei Shemos. I was saying which has two Shemos. Rabbi Lez Mechayiv Chatas. In other words, again, you forgot which malacha you did. Rabbi Lez says you Chayiv Chatas or Shua Poiter. Rabbi Elah B'Shem Rabbi Lez said that now let's go to my page because I'm going to change the girsa here because the name Moshe changes the girsa to explain in order that the sugya fits with that conforms with the principles I stated. Okay, Reisha going down to the bottom of my page. Reisha, of course, that word does not appear in the Gemara. That's why I have it in brackets. Any word which I put in brackets. Reisha command the Rabbi Shem Echon Nechleku. The Reisha must go, which says your potter must go according to opinion that Rabbi Shua even argues by Shem Echon. Command the Rabbi Shnei Shemos Nechleku, because if you want to say that it's according to opinion that they argue by Shnei Shemos, the Khan B'Shnei Shemos saying Vu Potter. Do you have here two Shemos that it should be Potter? In other words, if you're going to say that the Rabbi Shua only exempted you by Shnei Shemos, not by Shem Echon, there ain't no Shnei Shemos here. So the whole Potter doesn't make sense. So you must say the machlokas about Shem Echon. Now, what about on the other hand, the case where you started on the back and you came to the front, that it says Chayev, that's our Seifa. So that must go, command the Shnei Shemos Nechluku. That must go, according to the opinion, that the machlok, assuming that you still want to make it be Rabbi Yeshua. There must be, according to the opinion, that they argue by Shnei Shemos, right? Because here it says Chayev. If you say they argue by Shem Echad, then Rabbi Yeshua would say Potter in our Mishnah. So it must be by Shem Echad they agree it's Chayev. I'm sorry. It must be that that's going according to the opinion that by Shem Echad, by Shem. I said it wrong. Sorry. Again, the Sefer says Chayev, right? So that if you're going to say that's going to Rabbi Yeshua, it must be going according to the opinion that by Shem Echad everybody agrees that it's no good, and the whole machlokas was maybe by Shnei Shemos Rabbi Yeshua got you off the hook. So again, that has to go since it says Chayev. If you want to say it's going like Rabbi Yeshua still, you got to say that this is going according to the opinion that there is a case in which Rabbi Yeshua says Chayev. According to Mandamar says this is Machlokas is by Shem Echad, so Rabbi Yeshua never said Chayev. The Sefer can't go like him at all. The only way the Sefer go like Rabbi Yeshua is if you say that there is a case in which Rabbi Yeshua said Chayev. That only works out according to the opinion that says that the Machlokas was by Shnei Shemos, but by Shem Echad everybody agrees. that's what he says here. Lachro bolafon of chayav, which is the seifa, that can only be like Rabbi Yeshua, command them Rabbi Shnei Shemos, according to being that they argue by two Shemos, and in our mission, which is Shem Echad, everybody agrees chayav. But Ram command them Rabbi Shem Echad nechluku, but according to Pini holds that they argue by Shem Echad, Kan b'Shem Echad uvu chayav. If that's the case here, it's Shem Echad. According to Rabbi Yeshua, if he argues, how can it possibly be chayav? So again, it must be that the Reish and Sefer are completely inconsistent in some way, shape, or form. If you want to say both are Rabbi Yeshua, then one holds that the argument is by Shem Echad as well. That's the Reish, and that's what it says Potter. And the Sefer holds the Machlokas is only by Shnei Shemos, but by Shem Echad everybody holds Chayav. Or the alternative is to say that the Sefer is going like Rabbi Lezer. It's really they argue by Shem Echad, and the Reish is Rabbi Yeshua says Potter, and the Sefer is Rabbi Lezer who says Chayav. Okay? So, got it?
Yeah.
All right. Took quite some time to figure this all out. So it says Gemara, getting back to Gemara, Rabbi Ela, now skipping down to the next Rabbi Ela, B'Shem Rabbi Lezer, which is 5 lines down. Oh, that was 6 lines. Oh, that was 6 lines. Rabbi Ela, B'Shem Rabbi Lezer said, Tanoim Hinu. Obviously it's Machlokas Tanoim. Tanoim means Machlokas Tanoim. He who says over there chayav will say here chayav. Potter says over there potter, potter, but they are not consistent. They cannot be going like the same time. Okay, that's it. As again, as to always reiterate this, the beauty of Yerushalmi is if you come to the hard part, it's over very soon. Rabbi Lezer kol makom sheyeshna sheshinu. Rabbi Lezer kol makom sheshinu. Sheyoshna. I don't know exactly read it, but anyway, they said be'emes halach l'Moshe Misinai. It's halach l'Moshe Misinai. Okay. Hamotzi kikar b'shus harabi. Somebody takes out pizza bread and b'shus harabi. Chayev. It's liable. Hamotzi shnayim. 2 people took it out in partnership. P'turim. They're exempt. Lo yachal echad lo tzii, if one of them couldn't have done it on his own. V'otziu shnayim, and 2 people took it out there chayavin. Rishim says anytime 2 people do something, even if it's zay no yachal, neither could have done it on their own, they still remain potter. Somebody takes out food less than the proper shiur in the keli, potter afal keli. You're exempt also on the vessel. Sha keli tfei lo, because the vessel is subordinate to the food, and if the food you're exempt on, you're subordinate on the vessel. As a chai b'mito, if you take out a live person on a stretcher, potter, because chai no says atzmo, right? The live person carries himself, and therefore you're potter afla mito. You're even exempt on the stretcher. Shamita tfelo, because the stretcher is secondary to the live person. As a mace mito, if you take out a live person stretcher, or whatever chayav, the chen kazayis and says if you take out a kazayis of a dead person. Kazayis min avela, kazayis of an avela, and a kadosh mesheret the size of lentil from a sheret. Chayav and yechayiv in all these cases. Rabbi Shimon pointed, why is Rabbi Shimon exempt you? Because the malacha shein tzichel gufa. Because the Mishkan, when they did outside, they want to get it from point A to point B. Here they just want to get it out of point A, so it's not matami the house, or the people, or the entities they're in. So therefore, in this case, he would consider malacha shein tzichel gufa, and he'd be potter. Okay. Says Gemara. How do we know that a person who 2 piyut in malach are potter? Ba'asaisa, which says when he does it. Yachid shasa chayiv. If a single solitary person does malach, it's chayiv. Shnayim shlosha shasa. If 2 or 3 people do the malach, they are exempt. Rabbi Yeshua the Rumya Makami Rabbi Asa. Rabbi Yeshua the Rumya says of the south. Said to Rabbi Asa b'shem Rabbi Yacha named Rabbi Yacha. Kanikir. If 2 people take out weavers' rods or weaver sticks, which are obviously very light. Rabbi Poiter, Rabbi says you're potter. Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Shimon mechayev. Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Shimon says you're chayev. Why? Because Shnayim Shali, Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Shimon says Shnayim, even though it's zay yochel, you're still chayev because the 2 people combined to make a partnership. Amar Rabbi said, wait a minute. Kach shamati mi avicha. I heard from your father that you're potter. Right? Our Mishnah says even by zay no yochel, where neither one can do it by himself, Rabbi Shimon exempts. Certainly in this case of where each one can do it by themselves, Rabbi Shimon exempts. So how can you say chayiv? Amar lo. So Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon said, Shimashtis Abba Omdos. I served father in his youth. Omdos means when he was still standing. Mashalo Shimach Yeshivos, that which you did not serve my father in his old age. Yeshivos, when he's sitting down. In other words, I had much more knowledge of what my father said, and he didn't say what you said he said. Okay, even though Rebbe in the Mishnah, when he put Rabbi Shimon in Mishnah, he had Rabbi Shimon go like him. But Rabbi Shimon said, that's not what he said. He said that you're chayiv, even the two people do the melacha together. Okay? Says Rabbi Talmidei Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai? Ta'avi? Was Rabbi the student of Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai? Lo Talmidei Rabbi Yaakov Rakuchi? Abba wasn't the student of, Tana I never heard of before, Rabbi Yaakov Rakuchi? That's sad. Rebbe's great Rebbe. Rebbe's Rebbe, the Rebbe Rida Nasi. So Tana I never heard of before, at least I don't remember hearing of before Shabbos Samach Gimel Yerushalmi. All right. In any event, so it says the Gemara El Kacha Marley. There, I don't even know Namor Rabbi Yaakov. Not that I remember. I'm sure maybe there is. I just don't remember. It's certainly not in the top 10. Okay. So really, of course, Rebbe didn't mean to say I heard it from your father. I'm sorry, Rabbi Shimon didn't mean that Rabbi Shimon obviously didn't even look at Rebbe as being one who was Mishamish's father. Rather, he said, Shimashti es Abba Omdos, I served my father's youth much more Mashlo Shimashtos Rabcha, more than you served your own Rebbe Yeshivos in his old age. Okay, sure, once we're on this topic, we have a shtickle agarata. Very shtickle. You don't like agarata, huh? Yeah. Could be. But it's still not an Amora. It's a father of an Amora. Okay. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Elazar Rishim Nilchas Beis Avad, where Rabbi Elazar Rishim used to come into the base Medrash, Hoya Panav Shal Rebbe Makdiros. Rebbe's face would go black, like the bottom of a pot, out of trembling and fear. Amalei Avi, so Rishon Gamliel, who was Rebbe's father, said to him, Vios, it's good for you to tremble before him. Ze'ari ben Ari, he is a lion, the son of a lion. Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. Avlata, but you're just Nari ben Shual, the lion, the son of a fox, meaning me. So therefore, you should tremble. And of course, it was another of Shin Gamliel, is humility. I mean, the Mach Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon, once Rabbi Elazar died, Shalach Rebbe Tavavit, to say Rebbe went to propose, to send an emissary to propose marriage to his wife. Amrolei, she responded, Kli shenishtamesh b'kodesh yishtamish b'chol. A vessel which was used for holy purposes, you wanted to use for profane purposes. My deceased husband, she was saying, was holier than you. And in fact, this brought down the Bavli also in Bava Metzia. It's going back to our Mishnah. Our Mishnah said that the vessel is subordinate to the fruit therein. So that's only where the vessel is essential in order to transport the fruit. Kigon ilin tutaya, such as berries. If they're not, the vessel is not essential to transport the fruit, so then the fruit is not subordinate to the vessel, and chayiv el kain, you're chayiv on the vessel independently. Okay? As a chayiv b'mita potter. Okay, now we come to one of those critical Yerushalmis. Drum roll. As a chayiv b'mita potter. What does it mean? You shall see. Hold your breath. It's a chayiv mita potter afla mita. If you take out a live person's stretcher, you're exempt also on the stretcher. Because live person chay no says atmo. That's the exact same thing in Aramaic. A live person carries himself. It's a meis b'mita chayiv. If you take out a dead person in the stretcher, you're chayiv. Divrei hakol, is that that it should not be according to everybody. Lo kain time did we not learn afreach ra koshu? Now that's just a couple of blot ago. Samach we learned if you take out a reach ra, a bad odor, you're chayiv, no matter how small the reach ra is. And we explained there that there are various different reasons why that's true, because there it's talking more about the shiur. That the shiur of a reach ra is not the size of a rogeres or whatever else which should be by otzah, because even a small amount you're chayiv on, because a small amount is significant to you, either because you want to get rid of it, or because you want to take it somewhere to smoke clothes or whatever you want to do with it. In any event, here the Gemara is looking completely differently. It says Maratani Afreach Ra Koshu for Amar Rabbi Ila Af Rabbi Shimon Moida Ba. Rabbi Shimon concedes the point on that. What does it mean Rabbi Shimon concedes the point, Rabbi Isai? It means, as the Mefarshim all point out here, including some of the Rishonim brought back in the back in the Toros and Shar Rishonim, it means that Rabbi Shimon holds that there's no din b'locha shein tzich l'gufa when you take out a bad smell, or you take out a, as the Gemara goes on to say, Rabbi Shimon b'surei hanor and isur hanor. If you remove something from your house, normally if you remove something from your house, you're considered to be b'locha shein tzich l'gufa. Because what's malacha tzich l'gufa? Not to remove something, but to transport. But if it's a bad smell or an isur hanor, then even removing it is tzich l'gufa. Why is that? It's purposeful. It's purposeful, right? You want to get rid of that goof. Now, I want you to know, I was having conversations that I happen, whenever I see Yerushalmi like this, I like telling it over to somebody. Because it's novelty. So I told over to Gershon Schaffel, and he said that this really can change if you think about it. A thing which is no gela ma'isa, which is what's considered to be l'tzarech gufo makomo, right? They're allowed to move mukta, which is also l'tzarech gufo makomo. Now, here to make something to say that to remove a reach ra is malacha shein is malacha tzricha l'gufo. Here it's a chumrah, of course. It means you can't move a reach ra, right? Because it can't remove it, even though because it even be a siddha rights and not just the rabbana. But by muktzah actually would be a kula, because that means to remove a nuisance, a bad smell or an isur hanor which you find repugnant, is actually considered to be l'tzarech gufo. L'tzarech gufo we normally explain as being what? When I need to use the object, which is very similar to amalocha tzricha l'gufa, right? But here now we can define l'gufo at least by something which is a nuisance, or reach ra, as a removing something repugnant. And he said in Afkamina La'alocha, something brought down the back of one of Botner's Svarim and Hilchos Muktzah, whether you can move an alarm clock which is ringing. Can you move it from room to room? So even if it's Muktzah, the Achronim will say you can move it because it's moving a Tzorah Gufo. Now, the truth is, it's not, according to the conventional definition of Tzorah Gufo, it's not Tzorah Gufo, because Tzorah Gufo means to use the clock to break nuts, right? That would be the Tzorah Gufo, right? But if you define the Tzorah Gufo like the Yerushalmi does, that to remove a nuisance is Tzorah Gufo in itself, that's very good. The ringing alarm clock could be called the Tzorah Gufo to remove the nuisance. Okay? So, in sum, it's a very important Yerushalmi which does not appear in the Bavli. Rabbi Shimon agrees that by reach ra and by surei hanor, it's considered to be l'tzarech gufo, even if you're not intending it to move it anywhere, but just to remove it from the premises.
Doesn't mention about putting a piece of bread on.
No, not here. Maybe somewhere else. If you have to move it, yeah. Some reason separated. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason not. You're right. For some reason it doesn't say. I don't know why. So amen. So it says tomorrow. So that's the case. There's a question because our Mishnah says you're allowed to move the mace. Where's the Mishnah say allowed to move the mace? It's that's not this the rice at least. It should be according to Shir the rice because it has a reach ra and it's also bana. So your removal of it is a benefit for you. It says Rabbi Vilna said the potter with in our Mishnah talking about a case of b'meis aku. The dead person is a goy. V'she'ein bo reach ra. So A, the body's not usher bana, and B, the smell doesn't smell bad. So therefore, if Shimon holds by there, it's a malacha she'ein tzurich l'gufa to move it away, because the normal impeti for making a malacha she'ein tzurich l'gufa do not exist where it's a dead goy and it doesn't smell. Okay. Now the next words v'otila kabo is superfluous. You're not taking. It's mutar bana, but you don't have to take after the dog. Now it says the word further. Tani, we were. Chatzi zayis min ha-meis, half a kazayis from a dead body. V'chatzi zayis min ha...
What?
Yeah. Do you find that disturbing?
The what? The what?
Found disturbing. You were the coin. If you did keep the dog in there, that you were feeding your dead guy to a dog. Okay. It says Tani we learn chatzi zayis min ha-meis, chatzi zayis min ha-nevela. If a person takes out a half a kazayis of a dead body, half a kazayis of nevela, post mikadosh and less than a lentil min asher it's chayev. So it's strange because it should be less than a shear. Rabbi Shimon says you're exempt. Rabbi Shimon says more. What's the logic, Rabbi Shimon? It's mata tuma. You're doing it in order to diminish the tuma. You're not giving, even if you're taking it out, you're not giving any significance to this. The only time you're chayiv unless the shear is your matzniya. You're giving it significance. The fact that you're taking it for half year is not to give it significance, it's to take away tuma. So it's at worst, amlacha she'ein tzurich l'gufa. So therefore you're potter, right? My time of the Rabbanon. Why in this case Rabbanon say chayiv? By he, Rabbi Yodan, the potter. Because they explain it the same way Rabbi Yudan explained the previous case. We're talking about b'meisak, we're taking bits and pieces of a dead goy, shebo reach ra, which doesn't have an odor, and here we do have the gear of otzil l'kalbo. You take the half shear in order to feed your dog. So in this case, we say you're chayiv because you were machshir, even though it's less than normal shear. Okay. I think dogs eat mashmis. They don't eat dead bodies. Dogs
They won't eat dead dogs.
no,
Not that I know. Wild dogs might.
even dead goy.
I don't know if they... That's different.
What about basketball players? All right. Hanotilti part of zubazu. If somebody plucks his nails, cuts his nails, whatever, one with the other, or with his own nails, B'shinov with his hair, he bites his nails. B'chein sorrow, with his hair. He bites his nails with his teeth. B'chein v'sorrow, or he bites his hair with his teeth. V'chein tzvah, he bites his mustache with his teeth. V'chein skar, he bites his beard with his teeth. V'chein goes also to a woman who makes braids. A woman who puts on eye mascara. V'chein a woman who puts on blush. Rabbi Lezer B'chayiv Chatos says in all these cases you're Chayiv Chatos. Rabbi Chachamim Omrim, they say Mishum Shvus, it's only the Rabbanan. Hatolish me'atzutz nakiv, so nakuv, somebody who harvests for or cuts out of a perforated pot, chayiv. Shein okav, it's non-perforated pot, so you're exempt. Rabbi Shimon poitel bezeh, over zeh. Rabbi Shimon says, regardless you are potter, meaning that even if it's an otzitz nakuv, even if it's a perforated flower pot, if you harvest it on Shabbos, harvest it out of Shabbos, you are potter. Gemara is going to discuss that. Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Yosef, and Rabbi Yosef Rechina say, "Ma pligin." When do we have a Machlokes Chachamim and Rabbi Eliezer by cutting your nail, by getting off your nails? B'shenotlan who? When he took it on himself. Avinotlan acher, if somebody else takes off your nails with his nails, everybody agrees usin hain. It doesn't work out right. It becomes repugnant, erratic, unprofessional, and therefore you're potter. Therefore, the other person is potter. Rabbi Yachon B'Shem, Rabbi Yachon, Rabbi Noach B'Shem, Rav said, "Lolam chayin chayiv sheitlener b'chastau." Even if you take them off yourself, you're not chayiv unless you take them off with a nail clipper. Okay, chastau is a nail clipper, scissors, something like that. Rav Shem Rabbi Yossi said, Rav Shem Rabbi Yossi and Chanina says, Hagodelis, if you braid a woman's hair on Shabbos, we have this in the Bavli, an opinion like this, because of construction. V'asya Kaitam Rabbi Yochanan, it goes with that which Rabbi Yochanan said, B'Shem Rabbi Benoya, and name Rabbi Benoya, Ba'asrin, in our city, Tzavchin, they call the Kliosa, the braiding of hair, Binyosa building. Okay? Rabbi Zir said, no, Lo Mistabra, that doesn't make any sense. Ela Mishum Orik. What can I mean? Chayiv you by weaving, not because of building. Says Yerushalmi Vaiter, Machlav Shita Sid Rabbi Zira. I have a contradiction Rabbi Zira Shita. The time Rabbi Zira, Rabbi Chir B'Shem Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Zira, Rabbi Chir stated Rabbi Yochanan. Sorry. Akolea Sholosh Nimin. If somebody strands together 3 Rabbi Zira, lo tavi oriku. Wait a minute, this is not weaving. This is a spinning. Tavi is spinning. Now, how many threads do you think you're chayiv on by spinning? 2. How many chayiv on by weaving? 3. So he says, you just said it's weaving. It's not weaving. It's spinning. Why? Because if you twist hairs together, so that's much more similar to spinning than weaving. So 2 should be chayiv. Okay. So. Okay. It says the Gemara over by us. It says he calls the tying of the human hair, not tying, braiding. Calls it orik. Over there it calls it tavu, and here it calls it orik. Which one is it? Is it weaving or is it spinning? So it says Mar Mevzira kam b'mruah kam b'mruah. It depends how much he's doing. If he does a little bit, then that's not considered to be weaving, that's considered to be spinning. If he does a lot, so that's considered to be weaving. Okay? It really depends on the shiur. Says Gemara, now this is really a separate issue. When you weave something for a person, not weaving your hair now, we're finished with that. You weave something for a person, it becomes tummy. If you weave something for an animal, tohar. Why? Because the kalim of an animal don't become tummy. Only kalim of a human being. Caught at the time like that, which we learned. Also, piska, somebody makes a belt, l'lavlev, to cover the heart of an animal, to protect it against wolves. L'shaper, to enhance the aesthetics of the animals. L'hadik basam mitzuvin, to tie the loads onto the animals. L'tlosa b'tzav rabbeim, to hang this rope on the neck of an animal, tahar. All these cases, the rope or the belt is tahar. Why is that? Because kalim for tashmish adam are makabel tuma. Kalim suitable for human consumption. Kalim tashmish behema not makabel tuma. However, that's only true for shooting with their simple vessels, straight. If they're bent, meaning they have a base kibble but built in, whether it's a human being or it's an animal, it's tummy. Why? Because it's a different type, obviously, of garment, and they're not chai because it's the garment of a human being. You're chai because it is a what? It's a base kibble. It's a receptacle. So that in itself is a reason to be chai. Hakocheles. Getting back to the issue we discussed previously. Hakocheles chayeves mishum koseves. A woman who puts on mascara is chai because of writing. Hapoketzer, she blushes herself. Chayeves mishum tovash is chai because of coloring. Yitzhak about Urion's period. New sugya. Yitzhak Urion Amar. Yitzhak Urion's right.
So
drawing designs is chai because of kosef.
Yeah, so you don't need 2 letters.
No, you don't need 2 eyes here either. Seems okay. 1 eye would be sufficient to be chai because of writing. Yitzhak Amar Mapligan. This is a very interesting thing. He says he basically undermines the whole Mishnah. He says, "Where's the machlokas Rabbi Shimon Chachami by otzit nakuv b'shelo tolosh keneged hanekev? If you pull something off from the pot, not opposite the hole." In other words, here I have Exhibit A. Here's my hole, right? so it's an Otzi Nakub. But I harvest a plant which grows right here. So that there's machlokas, whether I say they're the hole's over here. The hole's over here. Everybody see the hole? So the shaila is so Rabbi Yitzchak says even Rabbi Shimon agrees that if the root is directly over the hole, like so, and then you remove it from the ground, you're chayiv. The machlokas is where the root is over here. So then Rabbi Shimon holds you're still you're potter, right? Because it's not opposite the hole. And Rabbi Loza holds your chayiv. We did have that? I don't remember. It's possible. Okay. So good. I mean, because if you pull it opposite the hole, after Rabbi Shimon, then Rabbi Shimon concedes your chayiv. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yirmiyah boy. It seems like a separate track, but the Gemara is going to relate these two things. Rabbi Yirmiyah boy, he asks like this: if the tree is entirely in Eretz Yisrael, the nekev chutzlaret, or the pot, the perforated pot was entirely in Eretz Yisrael. The nekev chutzlaret, and the hole was in chutzlaret. What's the status then? Ashkechis. Now you find, lo and behold, Ashkechis. He comes out. He said, "Madatzricha Rabbi Yirmiyah, that which Rabbi Yirmiyah had left as a shaila." Right? What's the status of the stuff which is not opposite the hole? Shitali Yitzhak Barian. That was Pasha Rabbi Yitzhak Barian, because Rabbi Yitzhak Barian said stuff which is not opposite the hole. Rabbi Shimon didn't argue about. That's not considered to be attached to the ground.
Are you talking about Tumas here, or are you talking about
Tumas Chutzlaret, yeah. Strictly with that. So let's go further. Elaine, these are cases where we have samples of this type of halachic oddity, right? About the nekev and the perforated flower plot. Vayislach or Chorani. But he got other cases as well. I'll give you a couple of other peculiar ones. For example, Atzitznakov. What? Perforated pot. Mekadish Bekerem. If you pass over your vineyard, through your vineyard, ask for the vineyard. Right? Because they derive mutual nourishment. Atzitznakov. However, despite the fact that it seems to be connected, because otherwise how could it bring down moisture, whatever the case may be, to the rest of the plants? And on the other end, it says, I'm sorry. Right? If it's not Nokov doesn't have a hole, it's not Mekash Shekarim. Yet we learned Otzitz Nokov Eno Machshir says Roim. So what's the paradox? I guess it just means Elaine of Vayisla Koren just means that we're going to bring out other halachos about Otzitz Nokov, Otzitz Sheno Nokov. Means these are those and there are other ones. I guess it's just partial like that. So again, Otzitz Nokov Mekash Bekerem, if you have a perforated flower plot and it passes over a vineyard, then answer the vineyard. V'she'eno Nokov, if it's not perforated, Eno Mekash Bekerem, it doesn't answer the vineyard. Otzitz Nokov, if you have a perforated pot, Eno Machshus as Roim, then whatever grows on it's still considered if it's connected to the ground, you don't have to take out Trumus Maisrus. B'she'enu Nakuf, if it's not perforated, Machshus as Roim, whatever grows there and became wet is automatically Mukshar L'Kabel Tumah, automatically comes through L'Kabel Tumah, and Atolish Matzitz Nakuf Chayev, somebody takes off stuff from a perforated plant, he's chayiv. B'shein nokov stuff from stuff non-perforated plant, he's flower pot, he's potter. B'shein nokov potter. Rabbi Yossi Amar. Amar lo stam. Rabbi Yossi made the following statement: stam. Rabbi Chinam without any attribution. Rabbi Chinam mati ba v'shem Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Shmuel b'Yitzchak. His own name Rabbi Shmuel b'Yitzchak. Why is that true? That there's a difference that even if it grows in a Otzitz Nokov, right? Eno Machsh. No, that's partial. So what's it mean with Kaddish? Oh, okay. He's saying differently. He's saying that everything in the world, Rabbi Shimon holds this from the Korban Eder. Everything in the world, Rabbi Shimon holds it's what? Right, thank you. There's no difference between Otit Knuckle and Otit Chain or Knuckle. There's no distinction. Everything is the same. Perforated, non-perforated, exactly the same. The only time Rabbi Yitzchak holds that there's a difference is only in the following case. What's the following case? Where we say Atoya Rivsa, where Zroim are don't become Tomei if it was done Shalol L'Ratzon. I'm still confused. How do you get this straight in my own mind? We proved that by Tuman Tara and Otit Nokov is like the ground, even going to Rabbi Shimon. We're saying, do you extrapolate from that to any other case or not? And the more answer is no, you don't extrapolate from that case to any other case. What? No. And Otit Nokov according to Rabbi Shimon is never connected to the ground, except for this one instance. What's the one instance? That's not Machshel Kabel Tuma, doesn't become Koshel Kabel Tuma unless it's completely disconnected from the ground. Okay? So again, why is that? Why should that be unique? Why is it get a special schus that it's not going to be Makabel Tuma? Says the Xeris Akos, Hatoya Ribas Betara Zroim. The Torah was extra special, went an extra distance to make sure it was Roim because it remained Torah. Where do we see that? So it says the Gemara, my time, what's supposed to Chiponi V'Lasam Akol Zera Zarua Asher Yizarea. It says so many times Zera Zarua Asher Yizarea. So it means that somehow or another we learn from that a way which I'm not exactly clear. That the Torah was very, very lenient when it came to the Mokshel Kabel Tuma. By something which grows in perforated pot and we're not concerned, it doesn't become Mokshel Kabel Tuma. So for everything else, Rabbi Shimon Katako, that which grows in perforated pot, at least opposite the hole is as if it grows on the ground. Here it's different because the special because there is a kotzuv that even by Otzitz Nokuv, the Torah was marbe. Let's make a mistake.
Mishnah says, Shimon Zer Ubezer is Koter. Shimon Koter Zer Ubezer.
What? I goofed it again. Well, not so badly. Rabbi Shimon holds that by Hechsher's Roim is the only case where an Otzitz Nakuv is considered connected to the ground. Why is that? Because the Torah said by Hechsher's Roim you should be more Mekel, because it says Akol Zera Zerua Sheri Zareh. So it means that being more Mekel in this case means that it's connected to the ground. Normally being connected to the ground is more of a Chumrah. Because I mean, for Shabbos, right. But by Tuman Tara, it's more of a kula to say that it is connected. Oh, right. So therefore, Rabbi Shimon really is consistent in a way, because he always goes the kula. By Shabbos, he goes the kula and he says it's not connected. By Tuman Tara goes the kula and says it is connected. Hi, so someone asks, you can't burn the candle on both ends. What's the pshat? So how we say, special says a custom. Hataya Rivsa B'Taras Roim that vis-a-vis Taras Roim. In other words, that it shouldn't be Mukshar Kabel Tuma. The Torah gave a special says custom. Hakol Zera Zerah Shei Zareh. That it's very removed from the time when it was a Zerah. That only they can be Mukshar Kabel Tuma. For this, we see that the Ratzon HaTorah was to be Mekel in this case. Okay. New parak. Somebody who throws from a public domain to a private domain, or vice versa, chayav. Oh, what about this case? Old standby. You throw from Mishus Hayach to Mishus Hayach, and Mishus Harayim in the middle, and you keep Machayev. Why, Dr. Spinel? Glutamic Shul Chadam. That can read up there with Pico. Okay. And you keep Machayev and prayer, right? The all-time greats. Of course, don't hold of Zrika says the Gemara is Tolada Dotzahu. Why is not one of the 40? 39 actually, because it's a Tolada of Otzah. Below Shanya says Mar, you should know. There's no difference. Bain Daite here the carbonated throws in the Rebbe. There's no difference in the opinion of Rebbe, Bain Daite and the Rabbanon. The only way it can be chayev is if it actually goes from Rishus HaRabim to Rishus HaYachid. If it only goes from Rishus HaRabim to Rishus HaYachid. I forgot why we have to emphasize that. Oh, of course. Says more. Wait a minute. How can you say that? Al daited Rebbe if you l'nacha. It's not true. It's a machlokas. According to Rebbe, doesn't have to rest. Al daited Rabbanon v'shanacha. According to Rabbanon, has to rest. There's a case which the Bible discusses also sometime. If something sails from Rishus HaRabim through a Rishus HaYachid now to Rishus HaRabim again, so Rabbanon holds your part, the Rebbe holds your chayiv. So I can say it's no machlokas. You're saying that everybody agrees you need hanocha Rishus HaYachid. It's not true. If something sails through Rishus HaYachid, still chayiv on it. Says more no. Again, I'll tell Rabbi Ushanacha. So Dharma Rabbi Ba Baruchuna b'Shem Rab Uchiyav Rebbe El Aidei Rishus HaYachid Mekureh. No. The only time Rabbi says if it sails through Rishus HaYachid, it's as if it lands Rishus HaYachid, it's as if it's what? It goes through goes under a beam, under a roof, not just under a beam. Because then we say Beisa Command the Malya Dami. That the house is as if it's full and as if it's resting on the ground. So that's only it's either Rebbe and Rabbanon argue if I didn't eat Hanoch and Rishus HaYachid, right? And certainly don't say Klutuk V'Shalun Chadaimah. The question when it sails through is that considered to be as if it landed or not? Again, because Beisa Command the Malya Dami, the house is like it filled up. But in any event, you only say that where the Rishus HaYachid obviously has a roof. Says more, it's not so pashit. Says Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yochanan holds that even if the Rishus HaYachid doesn't have a roof and it sails through, you're still chayiv. The Rabbi Yami b'Shem Rabbi Yochanan, as long as it goes between this airspace of the walls, even if there's no roof, and even if it goes out afterwards, still as if it lands Rishus HaYachid. Says the Gemara, no. That's how Rabbi Yochanan meant. Rabbi boy come Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Abba, as if Rabbi Yochanan masnisa to Rebbe. The truth is, this Mishnah is already a Mishnah on Gittin. We're not referring back to our Mishnah in Shabbos. We're about to ask a Mishnah on Gittin, a parallel sugya. You know what? I'm not going to be able to finish before Marv, and we already did over 2 blot, so we'll come back to this tomorrow. So we're in the middle of this machlokas, alleged machlokas, where Rabbi Yochanan says even the Rishus HaYachid is not Mekureh if something sails through the Rishus HaYachid as if it's landed. Okay? So we'll stop here and we'll pick up from Rabbi Yami tomorrow.